All right, fine. I'll be a gracious host. How you doing?
Little Mermaid is the scariest Disney movie by far, though.
Why the hell is Ace Blade in your Kickstarter?
Some comics. I'm getting controversial today. We're gonna get controversial today with
my proudest moment is this interview and being able to talk to you two.
Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages, towards comics in collaboration with Fourth Wall Productions. What?
Did you change your audio?
No, why?
It's all muggy now. It was fine before. What happened? Finish the intro.
All right. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages, towards comics in collaboration with Fourth Wall Productions respectfully brings to you the 119th episode of the Four Tales podcast. I'm your host, Kyron Silva. Across the way is Danny J. Quick, and together we are your two award-winning blurred comic creators here to help you find your next favorite comic. We are live on the Age to Geekdom network via Facebook, Twitter, Twitch, and YouTube. So if you're listening or watching us live, thank you for your support. But don't forget to like, subscribe, share, and review this podcast, because all your positive reviews and interactions help us reach a bigger audience.
Okay.
What?
Just gonna leave out my little intro, huh? For the 114th episode. You said 114?
119.
119th episode. Just gonna leave out my little Ace Blade intro. That's cool. I see how it is. I see how it is. Quick takes timer. It's all good.
What?
West Coast people are getting real chippy.
Hey,
West Coast folks are getting real chippy since Kendrick beat Drake.
Kendrick really did beat Drake. Like, he beat him, got him in his grave, left him there for a couple of days, dug him back up, and then beat him again.
Yeah, really. Pretty much.
All right. Does my sound am I really sounding weird now, or am I?
It's an echo, like you got a distant echo, like you sound like you're in a echo chamber a little bit.
I have not touched anything.
Just like an extra reverb. It's like a studio quality to it. I don't know.
That is so weird.
They don't draw like us. Serial connection. Hilarious.
All right.
Whew.
Anyways,
it sounds clear. It's good. I think it's all right. How you been, Kyron? It's been a while since I talked to you. Live.
Okay. Without texting?
Yeah, outside of texting.
I've been all right, man. I've been all right. Just been busy trying to get some stuff going, finish some artwork.
Yeah.
Doing some stuff for Fourth Wall Productions.
Yep.
Great job. Working on a great episode with Fee Soleil last week. We had Pat Shand on. That was fun, actually. That really was fun.
Fee's always a great host. She does a great job.
You're lucky that she couldn't be back on here, because otherwise she would be my guest host going forward. But
no, I almost got fired. I feel like I almost got fired, but you
were this close.
If I get fired or have to quit in the near future, at least we know we got some options to keep the show going.
Well, Fish said he would always be my co-host also.
Yeah, Fish is great too. Fish is always awesome. Like I think we got a good 5 options if I have to leave the show for any reason. So that's good. That's a good thing. I don't consider it a disrespect or anything like that. I will always want the show to be successful if I can be here or not.
Okay. All right. So next week, no Danny J. Quick.
Terrible.
How was your trip though? How was your trip, honestly?
Man, it was great. It was great once we actually got there. I'll just say make sure if you have 18-year-olds that they bring their photo ID with them when they get on a cruise ship, especially if you are going to anywhere outside of the continental US, because That extra 3 days in New York was not planned, and it was just like that. Need a playoff style competition for the that would be
Oh,
that would be fun. That would be fun right there.
now I want a bracket. I want to make a bracket of
Right.
pasta. I mean, okay, so we got Fee, we got Fish, Morgan and
Morgan.
Javon,
Come on. Dan is here.
Dan Bethel.
Um,
I need at least one more, and then the first round on each side we get a bye.
a bot?
A bye.
A bye. Oh yeah.
Like first round bye.
Yeah. March Madness, here we come. Dang.
That's... Okay. We'll put Danny as the sixth, and you'll get the first bye since you've already been doing it.
There we go. Okay. Terrible. Anyways, my trip to New York was
Go ahead.
was good and terrible. I'll say I had to stay in 3 different hotels over 3 days. One was in Manhattan, one was in New Jersey, and one was on a casino resort. So it was crazy.
Now, when you were in New York, did you see our next guest at any point? Did you guys?
I did
connect?
not. If I would have thought about it, or if we would have coordinated the episode the right way, how we should have, I would have hooked up with Frank while I was out.
New York is a pretty big place.
It is.
It's rare you bump into people at the grocery store.
Yeah, we were. I actually realized the day that we ended up having to stay the first night, there was a Comic-Con in Brooklyn, and I was gonna try to go out there, but every Uber was $60 or more, and I didn't
cheap around here.
cheap to you, cheap.
No, Ubers around New York City are crazy, and then the weird thing about it's like double when you try to come out of the city than it is going into the city.
Yeah, it's really weird, but we learned on the second day. We learned how to use the public transportation system. We learned the subways. We learned the what is the not Penn Station out there, but
well, there is Penn Station, and then there's Grand Central Terminal. Grand Central Station. Yeah. So they're two different. But no, New York's a wild place.
So
really
for our listening audience who isn't watching live, the third voice you're hearing is our guest this week. He is a writer, creator of many books. We're going to get to all his books too, but he's a writer primarily. And his name is Frank Martin, a.k.a. Francisco Martinez.
Is that what I put as like what I want to be called?
No, but that's how you told us to phonetically pronounce your name.
Phonetically.
Francisco Martinez from New York also.
I talk a lot of smack, so
all right. We talk a lot of smack on this show too. We just don't back it up at all.
Whenever I fill out forms for like stuff I don't want to fill out, I put in weird names, but then they get transferred to like spam email lists. So I'll constantly like get stuff in the mail. Like Franco, come back and join to Best Buy.
I do that too. Last time when I got a speeding ticket, I didn't want to put my name, so I put Danny J. Quick down. And it was perfect too, because I have his address and everything.
Wait, what? That's not good. Don't get me locked up for your crimes.
It's in the mail. Don't worry about it. You'll get it eventually.
I'm sure it won't get paid. I got 30. Well, never mind. We won't talk about that. Welcome to the show, Frank. For those who may not know your work, give us a quick intro. How long you've been making comics, and what are you currently working on?
I've been making comics for about 10 years. I don't really have a home genre. I bounce all over the place. I have writer ADD, so whatever is on my brain at the moment is kind of what I write. And currently, I do about 6 launches a year. My last one was for my sci-fi space fantasy series, Grimm Space, which I guess is going to be my main series going forward, but I still dabble in other stuff, one-shots, ideas, concepts that I'm interested in. And my next campaign is for the 4th Wallflower, which I'm very excited about because it's super weird.
It is super weird. I got to read it the other day, and it's very weird. We're going to get to Wally and his adventure. But you were saying just now you're going with Grimm Space as your primary. Is that the book that people seem to really like?
I think so. So I've had people all the time that say, Frank, you need to buckle down and just do one series. And I didn't do that for a while. And I think the most I have is my series Polar Paradox, which I have 4 issues for. And I'm going to do 2 more issues. So that will end up being a 6-issue series. But Grimm Space has legs to really become a full-fledged expanded universe with a whole bunch of characters. So I'm dedicating all 6 of my launches next year for new Grimm Space projects. And I'm kind of... I'm doubling down on it. I'm blowing up the universe, and hopefully people enjoy it. It's going to be like my own MCU. I'm having fun because they're all standalone stories kind of, but they interact. So in the end, I can have my Thor, my Iron Man, my Captain America, and then do my Avengers where they come together at the end. So it's going to be a lot of
fun. Now like you mentioned, you've done Grimm Space, you've done superhero, and you've done a little bit of comedy and sci-fi, things like that. How do you navigate doing so many different types of genres in a relatively short amount of time, writing-wise? Because that's a lot of books that you're putting out each year.
And in addition to that, how do you manage your release schedules? Because 6 books a year is not, or 6 projects a year is not an easy feat.
Living in the future, pretty much all the time. So I'm trying to book a hotel room for MegaCon. I want to go to MegaCon next year. And I messaged Travis Gibb and I said, do you know anybody who needs a hotel room? Because he's Florida. That's kind of the con he goes to anymore. He's like, you plan too far ahead for me. I have no idea. And so I
don't know what I'm going to be doing next week.
I mean, but like when you got a lot going on, you kind of have to, because otherwise you'll fall back. It becomes overwhelming. So, it's especially with Grimm Space because it's such a fun series. I got so many different characters, so many different fairy tales that I could do versions of. I'm thinking of stuff that I could do like 5 years from now, characters and storylines. So it's constantly just rolling, keeping in the future, planning release dates, setting up campaign pages. So I've made all my campaign pages for the rest of the year. I'm done. I don't have to worry about that. So yeah, it's just constantly. No, it is not having any downtime. It's just thinking like if I'm sitting down and watching a show and my hands are like empty, what can I be doing right now to be productive? You know, can I letter a book? Can I work on a script? Can I, and can I fold laundry? It's just like really anything just to not waste time, just to kind of get
myself for being an adult folding laundry. What the hell?
Apparently you got to do these things when you have kids that think they can change outfits 4 times a day. You end up with a lot of
They definitely want to, man. They definitely want to change out. Are you born and raised in New York, or how long have you been living in New York?
Born and raised in New York. I live in the suburbs right outside the city. Like my father and I traveled a lot, and he said, you know what, Frank, I love traveling the world. I always love coming back home. There's something about New York and the atmosphere and the vibe. I don't think I'll ever kind of like have a permanent residence somewhere else. It's just.
Do you think that your being raised in New York is maybe part of the reason why you are constantly moving? Because that's one thing in the 3 days that I was out there, I realized like this place is New York the city that never sleeps? Isn't that what they call it?
There is a bit of a hustle mindset. There's a perception that I remember I was at dinner once, hibachi dinners where they kind of like big tables and sometimes you're sitting with strangers. Mm-hmm. And I was talking with a couple and they were in from out of town because their kid was going to college here. And he said, you know what, there's like the presumption that New Yorkers are mean and nasty and everybody I met was really nice. And I'm like, well, when you sit down with New Yorkers are very nice. But if you bump into them in the middle of their commute, they're like, get the F out of my way, because it's the in-between times New Yorkers are just kind of go, go, go. But when we get to sit down and chat with people, we can be kind of cordial.
I had that same experience. I was thinking the same thing, but we had my daughter and I were there and we seriously looked like tourists. Like we had the wrong clothes on. Like it was really ridiculous. I was wearing a hoodie. It was summertime. I don't know what I was going, but multiple times people stopped to ask us if we needed help. Like when we were trying to navigate the subway system, even though that's part of the commute. But like while we were waiting for the train, I'm looking at the signs, looking at my app to make sure that we're going the right way. And people who are also standing there waiting were like, do you need help? Multiple times they're like, do you need help finding your way? or whatever. And like I was like, yo, people are really actually not that mean down here. I didn't see one rat. I think New York has gotten a bad rap.
New York has had evolutions, throughout the ages. So what people say about it now is certainly not what people would say about it in the mid 90s. It's a little bit of a different time. I always love, you could definitely pick out tourists in New York City. I think one of the big telltale signs is waiting for crosswalk signals.
Oh my God.
Jaywalking in New York is like practically a sport. It's
my God.
Just go. There's no just don't wait for anything.
We both pointed out like multiple times, like the pedestrians do not care about their lives in New York. They do not care about traffic, whether it's bicycle. There's a lot of bicycles out there.
You got places to be.
They do not care if somebody is coming. If I feel like I can make it, I'm gonna make it. Like by the third day, we were like, hey, we're just gonna go with the crowd, And that was one thing that we starkly noticed, like the difference between here in North Carolina. You don't walk anywhere in North Carolina unless you're in one of the big cities. So like if you are walking, you have to be careful because people will run you over. But in New York, like the pedestrians were like, this is our street. This is my place to be. Like, it's crazy.
I remember reading a book when I was a kid. It was like one of those, I don't know, middle grade books. It was called The Pushcart Wars. I don't know if it's a popular book, but it was basically in a city, push carts, they have like sell hot dogs. There was a war between the cabs, the cars, and push carts in New York City, and all the push cart drivers. There was like a little war. So all the push cart drivers had like pea shooters, and they would shoot the cabs and flatten their tires.
Wow!
So as like a kid who grew up in New York City, I loved just seeing all the different commuters just fighting each other.
Yeah, it's great, man. That there were like food trucks on every street. Like we spent the first day in Manhattan. The second day we were in Secaucus,
New Jersey.
Yeah, and then the third day we were closer to one of the airports. I guess we were in Queens. But yeah, it was different. Like every day was different.
They call it the New York or the tri-state area because it's really New York, Connecticut, New Jersey. It's just a hub. It's not just New York City. There's huge population centers just around it. So it really is a bustling place.
Yeah, for sure. Okay, now back to your.
I was just gonna let y'all just keep talking about New York. Honestly, I was just gonna be like, whatever.
It's a cool city.
It sounds great.
And there's superheroes flying by and spider people swinging overhead.
I met Bumblebee, Batman, a naked
cowboy,
the naked cowboy.
Oh, I met those too. I met naked cowboy all the time.
Yeah, but wait, that's okay. Never mind. But yeah, to connect it back to what we're saying, like I think, if you live in that kind of environment, you kind of don't want to sit. Like I get periods where. I wish I could focus more. I wish I could, I literally just hired an editor-in-chief so that I could get focused and plan things out further because it does help. It is very helpful.
You hired one? Like he's getting paid?
Not technically. There's a goal for him to get paid eventually.
You know what? I think I have a two-pronged answer to that question, which is, yes, I think my work mindset comes from both living around here. My father is neurotic worker, he's a workaholic. So I have that always need to be doing something kind of mindset to me. But I've traveled a lot. I've gotten around. I spent a lot of time in Florida, a lot of time in Colorado, a lot of time upstate New York. And visiting those places has allowed me to feel comfortable bouncing around from different genres all the time, telling all sorts of different stories, because the more you experience, the more you absorb, the more ideas you have, and the more cultures you're exposed to. It just allows you to kind of spread your wings and to do different things rather than just kind of sticking in one lane. So I think those combination of those two things allows me to put out a lot of projects and to put out a lot of projects that run a big spectrum.
Well, let's talk about the current project that you have coming up. I'm going to put the image that you gave us on the screen so everybody can see it, and it's called The Fourth Wallflower. Give us we don't want to spoil too much, but give us a brief overview of what it's going to be about.
You know, I've had to pitch this book a couple times coming on shows like this, and I still don't know how to pitch it. It's just because it's very weird. The basic idea is that a comic creator who's behind the fourth wall writing the comic creates a character who is immediately self-aware. He knows he's a comic character. He knows he's in a comic story. And together, him and the creator build the story on what it is. And it's kind of a rom-com. It's a romance. And as you can see on the cover, I'm trying to like convey the concept of the story with the cover, which is basically he's walking out of the panels while kind of creepily approaching a girl. It's not supposed to be that creepy. So yeah, he his creator creates this girl named Julia, and he falls smitten for her, and he tries to talk with his creator about how this love is supposed to unfold. And it's a very meta, very fourth wall breaking, trippy story about the comic creation process, about free will versus predetermined fate. Because, you know, he's a comic character. His story is the ending is written when the story begins. And so he's trying to grapple with that concept. So there's a lot going on here, and I had a lot of fun with it.
So the first question I had after I read the preview you gave me is this you in any way? Are there aspects of Wally, which is the main character in the story, coming from you and your experiences in life?
No. Which is weird because Wally does kind of say that. He gets very personal with his creator, and he realized that it's a personal story. But that was more a function of I needed like a way to tie these two together. I had to have a relationship between the creator and Wally. And you never see the creator. He never speaks. You never hear from him. All you know is Wally's interpretation of what's happening to him. So I had to create some sort of bond between the two. And so in a way, even though I am the creator, it's like I'm a fictionalized version of myself interacting with Wally, which is fun. It's cool. It's different.
Okay. Now the fourth wallflower. What's the significance behind the fourth?
So the fourth wall is if you're watching like a play, the fourth wall is the wall that separates the audience from what's going on the stage. So when you break the fourth wall, as everybody knows, Deadpool does all the time, he's looking beyond the fourth wall to the audience. So the fourth wallflower, a wallflower is, I don't know what a wallflower is. Let's Google it. It's like somebody that's
not
love-struck guy.
Love-struck is not part of it.
A person who has no one to dance with or who feels shy, awkward, excluded at a party. That kind of describes Wally. So I was trying to be clever by combining the idea of a wallflower and the fourth wall, which ironically, I love Wally because he's like, I give him my voice. You know, anything that's stupid about comics or about my writing, I let him say. So he does poke fun at the title. He's like, this is a stupid title. Why were you calling it the fourth wallflower? It sounds like it's the fourth issue in a series, but you don't have any. So I get to do things like that with the character, just kind of say out loud the quiet part.
Yeah, that's why I asked you if there are aspects of Wally in him and you. You know, it does seem like when you read the story that you're writing from yourself.
You are right. Like I was thinking when you're asking, is the creator me? But no, the creator's not me. Wally does have my voice. He does like certain things. For instance, Backer Kit is doing an event in July called Comictopia, right? Mm-hmm. And I wanted to jump on this and be a part of it. But I also have the fourth wallflower in July. So there's going to be a time when these two campaigns overlap. I'm going to have one live on Kickstarter, one live on Backer Kit. And to kind of promote the two, I'm doing a crossover where I'm going to give a print to people that back both. And I'm going to put Wally on the print. And Wally's basically saying, what kind of idiot launches two campaigns on two platforms at the same time? So like, I knew that it's kind of dumb, but I wanted to do it. So Wally is the opportunity for me to say how dumb it is. Anything that I can't say about myself, I can just put in Wally's voice, which is a lot of fun to do.
Nice. Mr. Fish Comics said he's in Comictopia too. I think that's awesome.
It's pretty cool to see behind the scenes. They got their own little Discord channel for Comictopia, and all the people that are creating projects are talking about what they're making and how to cross over and put it together. So it's a different type of experience because you don't get that when you make a Kickstarter by yourself. You don't have this like big event kind of mentality. So it's something new, it's something different, and I'm excited about it.
Yeah, I wanted to sign up for it, and I just totally forgot about it. I was too many other projects happening at the same time.
You know what it was? It was serendipitous timing because I was working on a book that I was just like, it was just a fun project that I was planning. I don't know what I was going to do with it. Maybe put it out as a lead magnet. And then I got the email and I have this project. I'm like, I could just combine the two. So it's just a matter of timing and opportunity. Otherwise I wouldn't be doing it.
There you go. So I'm interested in the again, going back to New York, since I was just recently there. Is
this a big episode just gonna be about New York now?
There's a lot of creative people in New York. Like my daughter and I were walking around Manhattan again. Like it's not all the same, but we were right in downtown Manhattan. She did not want to go to Times Square, but I was like, if we're here for 3 days, there's no way I'm not going to do the touristy stuff and go, to Times Square. I'm not, but we were looking around like all the buildings, there really truly seems like there's a person for every space in New York, because all of these high rises have to be filled with all these people. And there definitely is enough people, but there's so many creative people up there also that I just wonder, is this, they say if you can make it there, you can make it anywhere, they say. But just being, I wonder if you think that being around creative people, helps to continue that, creative. I know, just similar to me, like I do mainly superhero stuff, but I always have ideas outside of this that I want to do. So do you think that helps or hurts you as a creator, having so many different ideas?
I mean, I don't know about people, because I'm like an introvert. If there are people around, I kind of want to run away. But New York City itself, you're right. It's just, there's just so much going on. So many sounds, smells, sights that you can just be inspired by anything. Just walking around, seeing all the history, seeing the architecture. It's weird because if you're in the city and you're working in the city, you want to go and you go straight and you run. It's not until you stop and you look up and look at the architecture and the care that put into some of these 100-year-old buildings. It's remarkable. So that alone just can fill people with inspiration. And then, like you said, you got naked cowboys running around. You got tons of lights and signs trying to attract you. You got the world famous train station right down the street from a methadone clinic. It's a wild place. So it's definitely, I can understand why there's just so much music and art and culture just going all over the town.
We noticed that there's literally a Starbucks and a weed shop on every street.
That's a new development. That's
new. Okay.
Well, you know what? Right after they decriminalized weed, we went to, it was like Christmas, and we went to Times Square, or we went to we went to dinner, and we just happened to be walking by Times Square, and there were just scores of people selling loose rolled up joints, just like on the street, because it was Christmas, it was packed, and that's technically not legal, but it's just been so overwhelmed in the city that they're just like, whatever. So I was like, as a kid who grew up having to buy weed from drug dealers who just were very, very difficult, it was weird to just walk down the street and just have somebody try to hawk me their wares.
Yeah,
times are changing.
We literally, at one point, we were counting, because like I said, we were taking Ubers. We took an Uber and we were just like, Starbucks, it was crazy. But and
you know what? I think this isn't just as I did this as a New Yorker, but I think this is true of any city you live in. Just be a tourist in your own city for a day. You know, my wife and I remember before we had kids, we took one of those double-decker tour buses. You never do that living in your own city. You never do the touristy things. So I think it's one day just take off of work and be a tourist in your own city, regardless of where you live.
Those guys were really pushy. Also, the big bus tour guys.
Hey,
like you said, they knew that we were tourists. So every time we walked past one, they definitely tried to get us on there.
in a city of millions of people, there's a lot of money to be made. So
Yeah.
somebody's hustling somewhere.
Very true. And I found out that you can buy ad, like you can just be a regular person and buy ad space out there in Times Square. Like you can just pay to have your stuff up there. And like, why not? Why wouldn't you be able to do that? But yeah, that's pretty cool. It's pretty cool. Okay, so we're about at the
The New York detour is done.
The New York detour is done. We're
I'm
almost.
just gonna let you guys talk about New York. Go ahead.
As soon as I realized that you were from New York, this show was derailed from that moment. Just because I just was recently there, and it was a life-changing experience. We're almost at the point where we are gonna do quick takes. So, Kyron, I'm ready when you are, buddy. Unless you got any more actual journalistic, any journalism to do.
No, this whole episode's about New York now.
It's just become a travel log.
I'm gonna change the title of this episode with Danny from New York. That's all it is.
Danny brings on New Yorkers to just talk about the city for 40 minutes.
There we go. All right. So, if any of you haven't seen the show before, Quick Takes is a rapid Q&A section where we grill our guests on the hard-hitting facts from things that I found out about you by scouring your social media for your deepest, darkest secrets.
Jeez, did you go back like 10 years? Because I haven't purged that far on my social media feed.
Oh, yeah. I found it. I found that photo. I definitely didn't. No, I didn't. No, this is just
He definitely found the New York photos. That's all he.
Everybody, you're watching my cancellation in real time. Just so you know.
No, this is just a couple of questions to get to know you a little bit better.
Sure.
And just off the top of your head, so you're gonna have 45 seconds to answer each each question. And we're gonna start right here. So
I have 45 seconds total, or every question gets 45 seconds?
Every question gets 45 seconds. I don't know why we picked 45 seconds, but 45
I don't know
seconds.
either. We started with 30. People said that was too short, and then we said a minute was too long. So I think we did 45. Just to...
He Goldilocks it.
Yeah. All right. So question number 1.
It was just right.
And this one should be easy. D&D or Candyland, and why?
Oh, I never played Dungeons and Dragons growing up, so I don't really. It wasn't my thing. I'm not familiar with it. And you're saying this because I posted a picture online of my playing Candyland with our kids. Why do I like Candyland? Because it doesn't require any focus. It doesn't. It's like a luck-based game. So we do movie nights on Sunday and Saturday and Friday nights with my family. So my daughter doesn't watch the movie. So like, we'll play Candyland, and I can just sit there watching. Blues, move me. Orange, move me. So I don't really have to think too hard. I can be with all my kids watching a show, playing Candyland, and it's Dungeons and Dragons is like an event. So multitask, get it all in.
That's how you got to do. That's how you got to be as a dad sometimes.
I got to play Dungeons and Dragons for the first time this Sunday for Father's Day with my kid. He actually created a whole campaign for the family to play. It was my first time ever doing it. It was fun.
Well, both of my sons are in the Dungeons and Dragons camp or club, so they do it. It was never my bag. I never got into it, so I would play. I just never had the opportunity at the time.
I see your movie posters back there behind you also. Ooh. So now I understand the movie night thing. I love it. So all right, question number 2. We'll just go straight into that. My wife is. Hold on. Kyron, give me 1 second. I'm getting an emergency call from my wife. All right. As a matter of fact, take over Quick Takes.
No, I'm not taking over Quick Takes. We'll just talk to Frank about New York while you're gone.
All right, I'll be right back.
All right, this is actually unusual for us. I'm not going to take over Quick Takes. That's all him. So,
well, where are you from? Where's your city at?
I'm in Sacramento, California.
Sacramento. I've never been to Sacramento.
Have you been to any part of California?
I have. So my graduation present after I graduated college, my dad rented a car for me in Florida. And so my then girlfriend, now wife, we drove from Tampa, Florida to San Francisco. So it was like a road. Yeah, it was a road trip. And we went to San Diego, Santa Monica, and then drove up to San Francisco where my buddy was at. So those are the cities that I've hit in California. I love San Francisco. San Francisco.
From Florida to San Francisco is about what, 3-day ride?
Well, we took our time with it. We stopped off New Orleans, Texas. We went to Santa Fe, New Mexico, Grand Canyon. So we didn't really try to do it as quickly as possible. It took us like a week and a half.
Yeah, my family is actually from South Carolina, and my mom grew up there, and she actually drove with her husband at the time from South Carolina to California when they moved out here.
Mm.
I was like, that's a drive.
It is, but you know what? Our country is a big place.
Yeah.
It's got a lot of culture, a lot of geography, and I think it's a great experience to understand just how different this country is from one place to another.
Well, I think Danny experienced that just last week when he saw all of New York. Like, he really experienced all of that.
He's like, I didn't know this place existed.
No,
I thought it was just in comic books, like Metropolis.
literally. No, it's and New York is a diverse place. We literally saw every, like, y'all got cultures inside of cultures, but it's,
that's why when you
it's a
come to
melting
California,
pot.
Danny, when you come to California, I'm gonna have to come meet up with you so I can show you just everything. Because like you mentioned, all that in New York is the same thing. Los Angeles, San Francisco, you can get all things like that here, but it's just different.
Yeah, I love it. That's a good thing. All right, so I'm sorry about that. Sorry for that. My wife was giving me a call here.
We already went through all the quick takes. We're done.
No, you didn't. I was listening. Quick takes. Question number 2. Okay, you were on a show with what's his name? You were on with Eric, not Eric.
Chuck Pino?
You're on with Chuck Pino.
Chuck.
The other day, and the first thing that I heard you say was hedonistic nihilism, but you did not explain what you were talking about, and I was like, where did that come from?
Hedonistic nihilism. You gonna start? Should I go? Answer.
Yeah, go.
I've been thinking about my own philosophy and my own mindset recently, and I'm a big picture guy. I talk to my wife all the time, and I think of how we're on this earth for a very short period of time, and humans have only been on this earth for a short period of time, and the earth is billions of years old. So that's the nihilistic part, is that none of it really matters. The hedonistic part is, if none of it really matters, just have a good time while you're here. Watch the movies you like, listen to the music you like, eat the food that you like. So it's the contrast between just seeking out pleasures, even though none of it matters. So that's what I would call hedonistic nihilism.
I like it. I think
that's the philosophy major in me coming out.
I think that's what Nietzsche said. No, it's not.
It's not.
It's not. But I like it. I like it a lot. Okay. Because I think y'all went live before you actually realized you were live. So
this is a misconception. Every time somebody says, "I love your show with Chuck," be like, "It's not really a show. I just messaged Chuck. Do you want to go live and hang out for 45 minutes?" And we'll do that.
That happens a lot with Chuck.
It's literally can be any time, any week. Talk about anything.
Mm-hmm.
During the show, I'll answer phone calls. It's not a show. It's just us just hanging out, like, as people watch us. So it's a good time. I always enjoy talking to Chuck.
I love it. Okay. Question number 3. And this is a question that we ask a lot of creators on here. In 45 seconds, I want you to tell us what's the best part of creating and what's the worst part of creating.
The best part of creating is actually creating. Don't worry about audience and selling or this or that. Just the raw creative process of forming characters, plots, and figuring out how it all goes together. That's fun. The worst part of creating is trying to sell it to people. So I would love nothing more than somebody just say, "Frank, make things, I'll take it, and then sell it, and you just continue to make more things." So nice. That's kind of it. I would just love to just pump out story after story after story. I have novels, full-length novel manuscripts on my computer that I've never sent anywhere, simply because I just finished that novel, went on to the next one, because I like making. I don't like having to put things out. So if somebody did it for me, that would be awesome.
That would be. Okay. So question number 4, and this is God, yeah, sign me up. I know, me too. So you do a lot of crowdfunding, just like a lot of us in the indie space. We have to, do crowdfunding to get those things out of there. Just like we said, we don't necessarily like it all the time, but we got to sell these books to somebody. So in 45 seconds, I want you to give us your tips from that you've learned from crowdfunding. So what are the best lessons that you've learned in your time crowdfunding?
This is a tough one because there's so many lessons and there's so many people online that give out Kickstarter tips. So it's like, I don't want to step on anybody's toes. I'm going to say something new and unique. I think what I'm going to say is sometimes the shotgun approach works, just like say to the world, this is my comic, but the personal approach is so much more meaningful. And that doesn't mean cold message people. It means if you have a fan that's read your work before, connect with them, respond to their messages, show people a conversation. You do this on cons a lot, where if somebody walks by, don't just try to hawk them your book. Talk to them, ask them about their family. But if they're wearing a shirt, talk to them about that. Connect with people on a human level. And that just becomes so much easier to sell them in the long run. And I don't think people do that enough.
Man, that's the whole philosophy. Like myself and me, Morgan, and Javon were recently not recently, last year we were at a convention together, and the stark differences between the way that we approach conventions was like night and day. Like Javon is like, I'm going to try to sell every person that walks up my comic. The more people I talk to, the more chances I get to sell. And I'm like, I can usually tell if somebody is going to want to buy my stuff. So I'm just going to talk to people. And then if they want to buy it, they'll buy it, and to Javon's credit, we sold pretty much similar, like in the long run, but he was able to get his numbers, got him to the goal that he wanted. And my method worked also. So yeah, I'm with you.
I think people form much more of a connection when you have a conversation with them. I mean, you could sell a book on the spot. They give you money, you get that money, great. And then they leave, but you want them to make a memory of buying that book, right? So if you talk to them, if you connect with them, if it's a 5-minute long conversation and they end up buying a book and they finish it, they're going to remember that conversation more than if it was just, here's the money, here's the book, leave. And then maybe if you have an ad in the back of your book that they can sign up for your mailing list or your pre-launch for the next one, they might be more likely to do it. So I think having that direct to consumer, person to person connection, it's meaningful in a way that's not the same by just putting a book on a shelf and having them go and buy it. I think trying to roll that into kickstarting and crowdfunding goes a long way. It's hard. It's not easy. But when you only have 100, 200, 300 backers, you got to really form those relationships more than if you're selling 5,000 copies.
Yeah. I'm with you on that. Okay. All right. So question number 5, and we always have a top 5 list as our question number 5. And since you're promoting the Fourth Wallflower, and you don't know this, but my company is Fourth Wall Productions, and it's based on that same concept of fourth wall. I want to know, and this is definitely going to take you more than 45 seconds, but I want to know, in film, what are your top 5 fourth wall break moments?
No, this is like, I have to think. I can't just pull this off the top of my head.
Right.
You want to give them the actual 45-second timer or no?
Sure, give it to me. No, I'm gonna try. I'll try.
Okay, let's give it a shot.
Try. Best fourth wall breaking moments. I'm just gonna say all of Deadpool. So that's one.
Good.
The end of Wanted. When James McAvoy looks at the camera and says, like, "What the F have you done lately?" Right. That's a great movie from the comics that they managed to pull off. What's another great fourth wall breaking moment? Blazing Saddles. They play along with fourth wall all the time when they have the orchestra playing in the desert. Yeah. What's another great fourth wall breaking moment?
Spaceballs.
I was going to say Spaceballs, but I don't want to cheat. All right, I'm gonna cheat. This isn't really in a story, but it's in Peacemaker when John Cena has that scene when he's just railing off names, and he's like, "You could have said anybody, James Gunn," and he's just.
Oh yeah.
That wasn't actually in the show, but that was a deleted scene that they kind of showed online. That was 4. I missed one.
Yeah, I think Spaceballs is you can just throw Spaceballs in there, and
I could have. It crossed my mind, but I'm like, I already did Blazing Saddles, so
Yeah.
Almost any Mel Brooks movie at this point.
that would be an easy
Yeah,
one.
yeah.
Oh, I got one. A New Nightmare with Freddy Krueger, that Wes Craven film.
I don't watch horror movies, right?
So this is an interesting concept. So after they did Freddy's Dead, the Final Nightmare, that was like the in canon movie, and then Creative did a film that was like in the movie was about they bring back the main character as an actress, and they're going to have her be in a new Freddy movie. So it's like Freddy breaking through the fourth wall into the real world and is haunting the real actress.
Nice.
So it was like the way they kind of phrased it was like a real world demon used Freddy as like his avatar. So he started haunting her in his dreams, and he kidnapped her daughter, her son. So it was like the whole movie was meta. You know, Robert Englund shows up as himself, the actor Robert Englund who plays Freddy. So it was a very cool movie. I did it 5. That was probably like 55 seconds, but
we got it. We got it.
More like a minute 30, but
we'll count it. We'll count it.
We'll just edit it afterwards to be.
We appreciate you doing that. We appreciate you doing our quick takes. This week's quick takes are sponsored by Gemini. Gemini Miller.
You messed up.
What is it?
This week's quick takes is sponsored by New York.
By New York.
I was about to say, did he just give free advertising? Did he just like shout out Gemini for no reason?
No.
Okay, you want to do your code too? Go ahead.
No, I'm just gonna say use the promo code AceBlade for 10% off on Gemini. Absolutely.
Frank, thank you for being on the show.
Thank you for having me.
This has been the most informative episode about New York we've ever done. But we do want to make sure everybody checks out your work. If you notice to my side here, there is a QR code. Please scan it. If you're watching live or you watch it later, it takes you to Frank's Kickstarter, which is going to launch July 1st.
Yeah.
All right.
I think so.
We've been posting it in the chat, so people click on the link there too. But we want to make sure everybody follows you to keep track of your future works and endeavors. So where can people check you out online?
I'm easy at Frank the Writer.
Whoa, hey now. Don't say that like that.
Your wife now. I don't know.
I mean,
Jesus.
It's fine. She understands how it is. You got to be easy in this comic industry. If you're at Frank the Writer, Twitter, Facebook, Instagram. Also, franktherwriter.com is my website. You can see free stories I got on there and sign up for my mailing list and all that fun stuff.
Okay.
Danny, I've forgotten because it's been 2 weeks since you've been on the show. Where can people check you out?
New York City, just wandering the streets.
I'll be in New York just wandering in my free time. No. If you want to find us, the best place to go is fourthwallpros.com. And if you want to catch me on social media, it's at the Ace Blade on all social media platforms. Kyron, where can people find you?
You can find me at tauruscomics.com. I am on all social media platforms at Taurus Comics. And if this is your first time checking out our podcast, you can go to our website, fourtailspodcast.com. I'm sorry, Caden Sketch. We're ending the party, actually. I don't know what happened.
He knows that. He's just being a dick.
But you can go to fourtailspodcast.com. That's number 4, TALES podcast.com. You can listen to our previous episodes. We've reached a milestone that we've actually had over 3,000 downloads of our podcast. So Thank you for that. And we're almost at 300 followers on TikTok. So if you guys want to go there, I will try to start posting things. I forget all the time.
We have a TikTok?
We have a TikTok, yeah. You are following it. You are like the second follower. Don't even be like you don't know about it. I don't post there. Like I think the last time I posted was the X-Men episode.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
Well, that wasn't too long ago.
But join us next week. We might have some people from a fairly known franchise. I don't know yet the details on it, but join us next week either ways. Same normal time, 9 a.m. Pacific, noon Eastern, and we'll see what we can bring to you then. But until then, sayonara, goodbye, and everyone, please.
When there's trouble, call DW.
want to know what it is Quick is trying to say.